concern at the high school prior to the fire. And now that we've authorized you to apply for the paperwork to the state of Connecticut,
The paperwork for the code compliance is
Right.
going into the state system.
which is basically it's the same thing we do when we have school construction for improvements.
That's
Now,
correct.
you indicated we're going to get back $300,000 potential.
What I indicated is that the reimbursement, and I don't know the exact number, I believe it's 36.9 for school construction. Okay, so whatever that amount is, and I don't think it was a million, I think it was a little under a million. But when you consider the cost of the roof at Sunnyside, plus the roofing contractor for Sunnyside, and then the sprinkler, it's probably going to be more than a million. And the city would get over a third of that back.
But one-third the city's going to have returned to us. Can the Board of Education can use that to continue to address safety concerns?
The board, when it comes to school construction money, the board is just a pass-through. We process, okay, so the city can get the subsidy. So the Board of Ed doesn't do the outlay for school construction, okay? The city does. The board, though, must do the application, submit the specifications, get everything approved, so that the city can obtain the reimbursement.
Now, once the paperwork's approved and the city can start this, when are we going to start? I know you can't do it while the students are there. You can do it at night when the students
Some
aren't
of the
there,
code
during the summer.
compliance probably could be done while students are there. Ideally, in many of these cases, the ideal thing, depending on the area, is to do it when the students are not in the building. My guess, with roughly $1 million in sprinkling, it would need to be a phased project.
And we'll be looking at 1 year or 2 years to complete the task.
Dominic, you may be able to answer that. I don't have the numbers right now. I think Joe DeSanti, who worked with the current fire code committee, chaired by Don Sheehy and Joe Piers is a consultant on that. I think they kind of figured out. So, to be honest with you, Alderman Finn, I don't know if it's 2 phases or 3, but I think it would be safe to say that trying to do it all at once would require the building to be empty for a good amount of time.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, the other
And there are some priorities, because there are certain classrooms that are currently unable to be used. So one of the things that proposal should take into account is to bring classrooms that can't be used right now because of fire code violations online, so they can be used as soon as possible. So hopefully, those would be part of phase 1.
Okay, and the other thing is, we're going back to 1.7. As I pointed out to you,
1.75.
we're in a hole right now with the representative's budget to us. We have a deficit. We have other areas that have to be filled. I agree with, I'm supporting your request for 1.75 or just a little bit higher.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on Board of Aldermen? Yes, Aaron.
Mark, I know in your opening statement, you alluded to something about the state mandating a physician to do evaluations.
Yeah, the new teacher evaluation system that the state has come up with requires much more classroom observation than the system that had been used previously. And to me, it seems like they're trying to use a cookie-cutter approach, and if you have a teacher that you know is getting the job done, their students are always doing a good job, why should you need to spend as much time with that teacher as somebody who is perhaps new and who you don't know as well? And so essentially they're not allowing our administrators to use their personal knowledge of people they've been working with for an extended period of time to take a little bit of a shortcut. Now frankly, Eric, you or I or anybody at this table could walk into almost any classroom, and inside of about 15 minutes, we'd have a pretty good handle on whether or not that teacher was able to connect with the students and was getting the job done.
Well, I wouldn't want to exaggerate.
Well, I don't know.
But
I think we understand that our impression might tell us a lot.
Yeah, you'd get a good idea. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be, the full, everything that's needed, but on the other hand, you'd have a pretty good idea of whether or not that teacher was connecting with the students and so forth. And our administrators should be able to use their background knowledge and their expertise to simplify the
principals
process.
and administrators don't have autonomy to determine, I need to really do intensive observations of Dominic, which I'm doing, versus saying that, this teacher's high performing, I know what I have to do. So it's kind of a one size fits all. It doesn't mandate a position, but currently where we're at right now is about each administrator, including my central office people evaluate, are evaluating about 16.5 certified staff. Okay, that is a high span of control. That is, consider when you have to consider 8 informal observations, and for new teachers, 3 formal observations. Is it 3 for everybody, Lorraine?
No.
It's 3 for new teachers. So that's, and don't get me wrong, I think it's great that administrators are in the classroom. That's where they should be. But I'm just saying 16.9 is the lowest. Some of those are slightly lower, some of those are slightly higher. So our proposal with adding additional administrative interns and adding additional part-time people is to basically reduce that to a more manageable number. So if we can get that span of control down to 1 to 12 or 1 to 13, it's still onerous with the number, but I think we would be in a better place. So it doesn't really mandate a position, but
Yeah, that's the way it's.
otherwise you have to keep the burden on your existing administrators.
My next question was going to be, are they also mandating, how many administrators each school system has?
They aren't
No,
mandating
that-
that,
That is
but
another concern.
when you look at the hours that are involved to do these evaluations, the building administrators have other jobs they have to do as well. And so it's really,
Well, I was just going to say, because I don't think we need the state to tell us that.
I would also tell
give
you,
them China, they will.
So that's what I'm getting at.
just to give you an idea, my assistant superintendent supervises and evaluates 4 schools and 4 principals. I supervise and evaluate 4 schools and 4 principals. Forget about the observation, the debrief. A write-up takes about 2 to 2.5 hours for each one.
And just another question I have here too, the education budgets in the competing towns. I'm looking at the rankings where it's on your page 13, where we are listed as 59th, and then we have Milford and 106 and Stratford 127. I would take that we're outperforming.
Yeah. A higher the number, the higher you are.
Right. Okay.
Are there any other